The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shades thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It's Tuesday, June 24th. And today is National Patch Day.
Patch Day?
Patch, bro. Patch.
Like patches that you put on holes on your pants?
Well, you know, I'm going to assume that it's definitely not like the gentleman from Days of Our Lives. Do you remember him? Patch?
Yeah, sure. How about Patch Adams?
Yeah, Patch
Another
Adams.
famous patch.
Yep. Lots of famous patches. You know what I mean? Don't forget about the pumpkin patch too, Todd.
Yeah.
You know, I know how much you love
Great
pumpkins
pumpkin
nowadays.
patch.
I know how much you love pumpkins nowadays.
You know me.
Oh man, it's too good sometimes. Too good sometimes. Let's see what else we got. We also have, today is also National Take Back the Lunch Break Day today.
Where did it go? Where are we taking it back from?
You know, that's a great question. Great question, Todd. I'm not exactly sure where we're taking it back from or where we're going to, but I can tell you that we should be having a lunch break today.
Agreed.
And it also is, speaking of lunch breaks, it's also National Pralines Day. Any thoughts?
Go Pralines.
Yeah, go Pralines.
Their own day.
Yeah. I thought this was pretty impressive, right? Pralines, they got their own day. They're crushing. Even when you put them in your mouth, they're crushing, right, Dale? Right, Todd?
They're crushing. Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, man. Anyways, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. You guys. Well, is Jenny Beth with us yet? No Jenny Beth?
Don't see her.
You don't see her yet, Todd? Interesting.
No, sir.
Interesting. Well, she's late today, you guys. We're gonna have to give her a demerit.
Yeah. Oh, she's gonna have a million excuses.
Oh, I know. That's what they do. Millions of excuses, never any accountability.
Who's they?
Females.
Did you categorize her with? Oh, female?
Females in general, yeah.
Got it.
Yep. You know, whatever. Well, Todd, you want to start this thing off, Todd?
Sure.
All right. Well, we're going to roll right into Mr. Todd Denkin. Todd has been a C-level executive in the cannabis and hemp space since 2009. He has successfully launched 2 publicly traded cannabis companies in 2009, Phototron Holdings. I think everybody remembers that, at least anyone that's of a senior age. And in 2014, DigiPath Labs, the #1 cannabis testing lab in Nevada. Here, bringing the heat today is none other than Mr. Todd Denkin.
Thank you very much, Jason. Happy to be here. Happy Tuesday.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a 2 for Tuesday or a Taco Tuesday.
But I think it's a little bit of both right now.
Either way, it is Tuesday nonetheless. So my story is about what's happening with employment in the cannabis industry as mature cannabis markets see job losses while emerging states are booming. That's right, despite a 4.5% increase in revenue that reached $30.1 billion in 2024, regulated marijuana industry experienced a 3.4% decline in employment, shedding over 15,000 jobs to settle at about 425,000 workers nationwide. And signals that cannabis operators are recalibrating in response to economic conditions, market saturation, leading to price compression and burdensome state and local taxes that push consumers to unregulated markets, according to Vank's U.S. Cannabis Jobs Report 2025. It's important to look at individual regulated markets rather than the United States as a whole. Portland, Oregon-based cannabis data analyst Bo Whitney wrote the report for Vank's, a cannabis industry recruitment platform in Denver. He said, mature markets are atrophying and seeing declining revenue because of price compression. In Oregon, we have so many licenses and so much oversupply, people aren't just making it anymore. When you're struggling to survive, it's really tough to add workers, he said. While many cannabis businesses in mature markets are cutting jobs, emerging markets such as Maryland, New York, and Ohio are experiencing job growth. New York added 743 new adult use marijuana licenses, which translated into a 209% increase in jobs. Mature markets, particularly in California and Illinois, are experiencing significant declines. California lost nearly 4,000 jobs because of high taxes in a saturated market. Illinois saw a 25% job loss because of high sales tax and competition from neighboring states. People just aren't making any money in this space anymore, Whitney said. It takes a long time to get a license and approvals, and people just simply run out of cash. A separate report, White Ash Group, looked at salaries for cannabis industry workers. Toronto-based staffing and recruiting firms report the 2025 Cannabis Industry Salary Guide found that salaries for marijuana employees in the United States outpaced those in Canada by up to 20%, especially in newer markets. In Canada, it's been legal for a long time, so things are settled down, said Graydon Wellborn, managing partner and co-founder of the White Ash Group. Sentiment in the U.S. is that it's still an exciting green rush opportunity, he added. Another explanation for higher salaries is a greater cost of living in the United States, he said. Salaries for leadership roles in the United States have increased by 10 to 15% compared to 2023, especially in high-demand markets, including California and New York. Western U.S. markets, such as California and Colorado, offer slightly higher base salaries, while newer East Coast markets, including New Jersey and New York, offer significant equity incentives to attract leadership talent. Salaries also differ by location. Master grower in California can expect to earn between $95,000 and $125,000 per year. In Colorado, the range is $75,000 to $95,000 per year. Salary for retail managers in California ranges from $70,000 to $95,000, paired with $55,000 to $75,000 in Arizona. The hourly rate for entry-level bud tenders in California is $17 to $23 per hour, but drops to $15 to $18 per hour in Colorado. Canada is seeing an uptick in international positions as the country's cannabis producers focus on overseas markets. Facing a saturated market and intense competition domestically, Canadian companies are exporting more of their products overseas. The cannabis export market is an opportunity for marijuana businesses to tap into new revenue streams and mitigate the impact of Canada's domestic excise taxes. Positions in international business development have a different pay structure than similarly positions domestically because the supply chain is much more complicated and the laws are different, Wellborn said. There are a lot of companies that just grow flower for other countries. They don't even bother selling it in Canada, Wellborn said. A lot of these companies are starting to have an international strategy. I'm Todd Denkin with High 9 News, and with the workforce thinning, you guys feel this will affect the entire industry, and obviously taxes are taking its toll on businesses as we see more and more folks getting laid off. With a race to the bottom of pricing, for the product, it makes it harder and harder instead of easier and easier. What do you guys think?
Man, it's been a race to the bottom for a while, Todd. I mean, this isn't anything new. There's been tons of price compression in the space, and it's funny. I was at an event the other day, and someone was like, "Oh, you know what, man? We just came out with a new product, and all of a sudden." He said, we're beating everyone in all of our competition. We're beating them by half the price.
Oh my God.
And I was like, price. I'm thinking in my head, like, prices are already so low. Like, how are you even doing that? Like, how are you even competing in that kind of manner? And so I was very, very confused by that. But they were very excited, and they were like, oh, we're going to be making a big splash in the industry. So I think it's going to get even rockier for a lot of companies unless they have that real strong brand recognition and loyal customer base that are already dealing with them on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, also it's a testament to the fact that taxes are just too damn high.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah,
if the industry goes away, well, guess what? So do the taxes.
Yep.
So legislators really got to take a look at the adjust what it is they've delivered to the cannabis industry for legislation and regulation. And, really take a long, hard look at themselves.
Fair enough. What do you got to say, Yarrow?
Well, I can't believe Vangst paid Bo Whitley to say what we already know. I don't know. I didn't know you could be a data analyst just pointing out the obvious.
Right.
So that's
isn't it like being a cannabis consultant? Isn't that the same thing?
I'm like, wow. I mean, like, the quotes there were not in any way insightful, revolutionary, or groundbreaking. I did appreciate that the article used more than one report from more than one country. So I thought that was valuable. And for me, salaries without cost of living right next to each other is an incomplete metric or rubric, right? So when we compare the cost of a position from California to Colorado without getting a little bit more detailed about where maybe in both of those states and the cost of living, it's incomplete. And so the best paying jobs tend to be in the highest cost of living markets in general, in and outside of cannabis. And so I think that's something that tends to need to be factored in.
They mentioned that in the article. They didn't mention specifically, but they said, obviously that there's a higher cost of living in California, why these salaries are higher.
Yeah, but it's like sort of like not factoring in a per capita.
Yeah.
Right. So they should have taken a cost of living index and then adjusted accordingly. It's the same as taking money from 1937 and adjusting over time for, inflation. What's that worth out? So without that factoring in, and Todd's right, they mentioned it, but without it factoring it versus mentioning it, I think they missed the mark in terms of providing us with something a little bit more. But again, not
Damn you, Bo Whitney.
Well, speaking of which, the Cole memos.
What do you know, Mr. Bo? I don't know, but you got paid by Banks, and good for you on that. And I don't disagree with what he's saying.
Well, the Cole memo says Bo has been one of the top economists devoted to studying cannabis economics for the last 11 years.
Yeah, I know. Bo interviewed me and people like me, and it's great that we've given this gentleman our free time so he could build a career on that by polling us.
Fair enough.
How's that shade?
Yeah. Hey,
sounds so bitter. Why are you so bitter, Yarrow?
I mean, Todd. One other part of this whole story that I found very interesting is the company's name, White Ash Group.
No, I like that.
Do you really think white ash is really a thing? I think it's a bunch of baloney.
Well, than what you're smoking, and to create your white ash.
Yeah, I mean, white ash is created just basically more on what you feed the plant and how you flush it out, as opposed to like whether or not it's good quality or not.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they're just taking a their company name.
It could be that they're just referencing the tree up there.
Maybe it's just a whole bunch of white guys, Yarrow, that just have to use lotion every day.
I was just going to say that too.
You know what I mean? Like, who knows? It could very well could just be that.
If that's the case, my elbows are chairman of the board of that group.
Look at that.
Or it could be a bunch of black dudes with ashy skin.
Oh,
right? So,
man.
I don't know.
What it's called white ash, Todd.
Yeah, so they use the white ash lotion. I don't fucking.
Did you say white ass lotion?
Oh, I said white ash.
Oh, I thought you said white ass lotion. That was very interesting. Well, nonetheless, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, you know? But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
Acting ball.
Oh, yes. And coming up next, that's right, you guys, I got a fun story for you. I don't know if any of you guys got to see this yesterday, but Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick held a press conference yesterday in Texas. Did you guys get to see this at all?
Not.
Oh man, it was worth its weight in gold, Todd.
Yeah.
There was more gaslighting going on than at an oil refinery. So, nonetheless, you guys, yep. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick swore on the truth. That's right, because a comprehensive fact check of his SB3 press conference. Well, you have to hand it to him because it takes skill to incorporate all of those rhetorical and logical fallacies in a single press conference. But maybe that's just Lieutenant Dan's superpower. It was breathtaking in the aftermath of Governor Greg Abbott's veto of Senate Bill 3. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick orchestrated a press conference that deserves recognition, not for his policy insights, but for its breathtaking commitment to fabrication. Patrick's performance brimmed with hyperbole, bristled with misinformation, and advanced legally dubious claims about Texas hemp products and the businesses that sell them. His rhetoric sought to terrorize audiences, demonize an industry, and cast the governor as a marijuana legalization unwitting accomplice. Yet, what emerged from that press conference, perhaps from the first time in such crystalline relief, transcends more political spin. Patrick has not simply stumbled into error or fudged the facts. He has constructed an entire legislative campaign upon a foundation of demonstrably false, defamatory, and incendiary claims. Building a comprehensive political strategy around so many disprovable assertions requires deliberate effort and sustained commitment to deception. Patrick has achieved exactly that, and for years, he cloaked his prohibitionist agenda in public safety rhetoric and moral posturing. This morning, though, however, the mask slipped. The press conference exposed the architecture of his disinformation operation, and nearly every substantive claim he advanced proved to be false, misleading, logically fallacious, or outright defamatory. So, what does Dan Patrick's escalating campaign of mendicancy, well, why does he persist as his narrative crumbles under scrutiny? The answers likely reside in the politics of fear, power, and strategic distraction, coupled with what appears to be a systematic protection of entrenched interests with Texas's compassionate use program, the Teacup. And Patrick's greatest hits, 18 lies, fallacies, and fantasies, because depotion designed to serve interests beyond public safety, and the timing and intensity of Patrick's offensive suggest a more troubling motive, protecting the state's compassionate use program, that's right, the Teacup, from market competition by annihilating the legal hemp industry under false pretenses of child protection. Patrick shields entrenched Teacup license holders, many with documented political connections, from competing in an open marketplace. I thought that was truly fascinating. He's like, who's going to want to get a Teacup license now that they have hemp and there's going to be no need to have a program, he said. It was very comical. This arrangement benefits a select cartel of state-approved cannabis operators while artificially inflating their market value. Meanwhile, consumers abandon expensive limited Teacup products for affordable, effective hemp alternatives. Patrick's prohibition campaign eliminates this competitive threat while maintaining the fiction of principled drug policy. The mathematics prove illuminating, and Teacup licenses trade for millions of dollars precisely because artificial scarcity guarantees monopolistic returns. Hemp's legal status threatens this arrangement by offering consumers choice, competition, and market prices. And Patrick's crusade preserves regulatory capture while disguising economic protectionism as moral crusading. And the overall conclusion, because it's calculated deception in service of entrenched interests, Lieutenant Governor Patrick's press conference represents more than a nadir in Texas cannabis policy discourse. It exposes the corruption lurking beneath prohibitionist rhetoric. He remarks, distort facts, ignores legal precedent, and weaponizes moral panic to serve narrow economic interests, while accusing others of poisoning children and undermining Texas values. His own campaign of systematic deception poses the greater threat to honest governance and informed public discourse. Patrick's strategy no longer deserves characterization as mere political hyperbole or policy disagreement. 18 documented fabrications reveal calculated mendicancy designed to eliminate market competition while preserving regulatory capture. The legislature, media, and public should respond accordingly, not to Patrick's manufactured moral panic, but to the economic corruption his crusade serves to protect. This isn't drug policy. This is a shakedown wrapped in a culture war, you guys. Well, I happened to watch this whole thing, this whole press conference. I found it to be super, super interesting, and probably go ahead, transition. Probably the most interesting thing that I thought about it, you guys, was the fact that he tried to say that they can't regulate 3,000 or 8,000 stores in Texas. He said, we have no clue what they're all going to be selling. There's no way for us to be able to regulate it. And someone brought up the question of alcohol, and his answer was, well, you know what, these alcohol manufacturers, he said, there's no way that we could test every single bottle of alcohol to ensure that it is, but these are produced by companies, and so therefore we know that it's legitimate because it's produced by companies. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, all these people have cannabis companies. These are all companies too, and last time I checked, you know what I mean, companies are people too.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, that is a weird defense of alcohol. Mm-hmm. Is that, they're made by companies? Yeah. What does that even mean?
Exactly. That's what I thought too. Exactly what I thought, Todd. Right. I was like, get out of here, bro. Like, you stop. This is total cap all day on this.
Actually, I'm quite shocked that Abbott vetoed the bill. And I think we talked about it last week, and I said there's no way it's going to happen.
I told you it was going to happen.
Let me say out in front of everyone, I was wrong.
Oh yeah,
but I was surprisingly wrong. I mean, I was shocked but happy that it happened. You know, and it's funny that Lieutenant Governor is
Lieutenant Dan
making a stink, right? Mm-hmm. You know, he's making a stink, but he's a typical, religious. Keep God in the classrooms and pot out of our schools.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, I thought it was super, super interesting. Just I found it very, very entertaining, the whole thing. And he seemed very very disheveled that Governor Abbott signed this into law.
Sure.
Like, he was very, he seemed very, he seemed like he got betrayed. He's like, I don't understand why Governor Abbott would sign it. It's like he just wants recreational marijuana legal in Texas. And man, it was so good. It was so good. He was like, and these poor teacup guys, they're not even going to be able to get off the ground because there's going to be too much market competition. They're not going to be able to sell any of their product because who's going to go and buy their product when they could just go to any store and buy the same thing?
So here's what I'd like to point out, which is, I don't know whether this is like an article or an opinion piece because it's not on sort of like a conventional site. Yeah, it's somebody's Substack.
Yeah.
But,
yes.
And I'm not saying that's okay.
Well, hold on. Let me give some context here, Yarrow, just so you understand.
Not till I'm done. Not till I'm done.
Okay, go ahead.
But what I love is that the article that Jason chose to cover, the last paragraph of the entire thing says, quote, and that brings us to the biggest lie of all. The Texas Republican Party platform declares that, quote, Texas Republicans support free markets, limited government, and individual liberty. It defends capitalism based on competition, transparency, and minimal regulation, not insider dealing and rent seeking. Government is supposed to be a referee, not a player in the game. Yet Patrick's scheme to shut down hemp retail and channel the cannabis economy into the hands of the few isn't capitalism. It's cronyism of the worst kind. So here's the question for a man who rhino hunts. I guess they're referring to Mr. Patrick.
Yep, Patrick is a rhino.
Are you really even a Republican, Dan, or are you something else? So what I want to point out while we've got a little bit of infighting is, are we supposed to believe that Dan Patrick, like this is the first time he's done something that is not aligned with the professed planks of the party in that state? Or is this just the first time we have a perfect example of how it comes up against the interests and goals of most people in the cannabis and hemp industries? Because what I would offer you is that just like Florida, that party in that state is relatively festering and sick. And this is just an example, and it probably should be lanced to cure it.
Well, first of all, let me just address the first thing for you, Yarrow. So this was written by Jay McGuire, and Jay McGuire is someone that we've had on the show who covers Texas policy. And I reached out to him last night and asked him if he was writing a piece in relation to covering the Lieutenant Governor's press conference, and he said that he was. And so this is what he sent me in relation to. So I wanted to make sure that I was covering it from his perspective, and so that's where this all comes from.
And I was on a show with him,
yes,
and thoroughly enjoyed him,
yes,
and was really just pointing out that this hadn't come from a quote unquote mainstream source. But what I like the most about it is this is really an attack on how business is being done by the ruling party in Texas. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to remember not to limit our criticism to this one ruling, this one process, this one topic, this one particular last minute killing of this bill. Let's what do they say? Let's sort of pan out for the 30,000 foot overview, because this isn't the only issue down there in the way that this party is basically force feeding values to their constituents.
Mm-hmm. What do you got to say?
I don't want to be faux gras somebody else's idea of what is right and wrong.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree with that on that part. I don't necessarily want to be force fed what's right or wrong either, Yarrow. I know where you're trying to go with this, because that's where you always try to go, to the same destination every time. It's like your freaking watering hole over there. But it's gonna be okay. And you know what? I'm gonna take my wins where I take my wins, and I'm gonna take my other wins where I take my other wins. But nonetheless, and those two issues are totally different in every single which way whatsoever.
Lieutenant Dan is being disingenuous when he says there's nothing that can be done. All you got to do is age gate and laboratory test.
I agree.
Laboratory test. Maybe toss in a potency max of whatever 500 gazillion milligrams, and like so. This idea that their hands are tied is really not true. Yes, they haven't gotten relief on the federal level with an updating of the Farm Bill, and yes, they can do something to just soften the rough edges of the underregulated hemp industry in a way that doesn't really have a stifling effect on business, but does throw a few little protections in there for the munchkins that shouldn't be able to access high potency hemp products at a gas station. And they can do all that.
I'm fine with that.
And so it doesn't seem like Lieutenant Dan is being thoughtful in proposing ways to solve the issues that he's amplifying. And like that to me seems sort of like the basic job that they're supposed to do. Identify a problem, figure out some solutions, execute on those solutions. And Dan's not doing that. Dan is being very mids.
Yeah, he's cowtailing. You know what I mean? He's cowtailing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To all they have to do is follow the will of the people. It's just so simple. Isn't that what governing is about?
Yeah.
So organizing the will of the people and implementing?
Yeah. Jenny Beth, you have any thoughts on Lieutenant Dan's press conference? No? Interesting.
Muted, Jenny.
Yeah, you're on mute. No one can hear you.
No, I got her late. You're good.
Okay. All right. She's late. She's late today, you guys. Look at that. Look at that. Some accountability today, Todd. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that.
No excuses, just owning it.
Yeah. Well, one of the other parts of this whole thing is Lieutenant Dan was very adamant that cannabis has ruined so many people's families' lives, but yet he offered no clear examples of people whose lives that were ruined by these illicit cannabis products that are being sold at high milligram levels. I found
it's just the same anti-cannabis rhetoric that we've heard for years and years and years. What about the kids? People are dying. It's destroying families. It's a gateway drug. I mean, they do the same shit over and over and over again.
Yep. Exactly. Well, nonetheless, Jenny, do you want to introduce Yarrow next? No? Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well,
wait a second. How is that like an optional ask?
It was designed to try to be polite, but since she doesn't want to participate today, then that's totally fine.
Nah, I'm here, but I'm not introducing him. No, I've done it a million times. Not
exactly.
Today.
Hey, coming up next, since nobody on this fucking show listens to a goddamn word out of my mouth, and I said fine, the grumpy elf on the shelf, the smallest pain in my ass on the High at 9 team, straight out of the Shire, the real estate expert whose coffee should shoot out of his nose right now, Yarrow Kubrin.
Yes.
Goes wild.
Oh, that was so good. The only thing I ask in return, Jason, is that you allow me to introduce her the next time we're all recording.
Well, you can introduce her because she's gonna go after. She's gonna have the first story after the break, so you can introduce her. Okay, Yarrow. Perfect.
Oh man. All right. Well, good morning, High at 9 News viewers. June 24th. Condolences to those in the Tahoe area with what's happened in this last week. My story today takes me to a little international website, and reporting from across the globe, Thailand recently reclassifies cannabis as a controlled substance. 11 hours ago by the Thailand news. Oh, joy. Here we go. Thailand plans to reclassify cannabis as a controlled substance, limiting its use strictly to medical purposes, according to Health Minister. I'm not going to pronounce that name very well. On June 24th, that same name I can't pronounce very well, Thailand's health minister announced that the cannabis will be classified again as a controlled substance, restricting its use to medical applications only. The minister signed a declaration requiring a doctor's prescription and certificate for cannabis purchases. He emphasized that this move is not a crackdown on cannabis shops following the party's withdrawal, a certain party's withdrawal from the government. That's called the Bujathai Party's withdrawal from the government. That's the best I can do with that word. The decision follows public consultation between the 22nd of May and the 10th of June, where the majority supported the medical-only use of cannabis. New business licenses will require additional regulations and mandates that a doctor is present in the shop and conducts monthly checks. Non-compliance could lead to license revocation. The Bujathai Party's effort to push a cannabis control bill are deemed unrealistic, as past laws allowed certain substances to be managed by the health ministry. The minister expressed frustration over the political promises and disconnected implementation. You should join us on High at 9 News. That's what we do. We express frustration over political promises and disconnected implementation, noting over there a burst of cannabis-related businesses without clear legal backing. This Somsak clarified that the current measures are not politically motivated, but address ongoing public concerns. The focus remains on cannabis being strictly controlled medicinal herb, with future plans to reapply its classification as a controlled substance. Okay, here we go. 360, 180, through the maze of regulation, back forward with regulatory two-step. Thailand. This is pretty darn embarrassing. You might as well admit you don't know what you're doing. Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks.
Thailand, man. They're reverting back to their old ways.
Go back and forth like nothing we've ever seen before.
I mean, this is they're the ultimate flip-flopping country.
I told y'all they were sick of the shit.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan is on their advisory board.
Oh, maybe that'd be a great place for him to go and practice politics. He needs to get out of Texas because he's not even from Texas in the first place. Hopefully this next election, you Texans all send him packing to somewhere else.
I just feel bad because I know a lot of people went over to Thailand a few years ago and it was an emerging opportunity. So people put time and money and resources into scaling and pursuing their dreams in this industry. And then,
you know what it's like, Yarrow?
Government pulls a Lucy and pulls the football away as you're going to kick it.
You know what it's like? It's like the international Oklahoma. Because everybody just went out there and all these unlimited licenses and and everybody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Green pastures and unlimited opportunity, and then all of a sudden,
they also all went out there all willy-nilly, like Oklahoma, with intentions of like exporting it out to other places. Like this was a jump off for if you wanted to shoot it somewhere else. When they're very clear, like don't export this shit.
Yep.
So, I think that this is a testament to when you do pull in Oklahoma and you let people do too much, people will do too much. I don't think the people of Thailand, the government of Thailand, unfortunately realize how fucking far we will push things if we're allowed.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And at the same time, like how many of these stores are actually owned by Thai locals versus how many are actually owned by international individuals?
Right.
Well, and I don't know that that's really the most important thing, right? I mean, when you have a new market or an industry that needs to borrow from what's worked in other areas, you tend to bring in out of area talent to scale those businesses up and to train people. And we see that time and time again. And so I still think it was better than, scoring mids as a tourist or not having a framework that would normalize access for people over there, separate from who was benefiting financially. I think the society is better when we don't have a drug war on cannabis in any country. And so, they really, first it was treated like a house plant, and now it's being treated again like a pariah. And in that, people put time and effort and energy into trying to navigate the rules and regs, and then they just change them like this. I don't see how this helps anybody.
Fair enough. And any final thoughts on this, anybody?
Nope.
Thailand is going to be one big mess of watching them try to clean up everything, close everybody down, and you know who's really going to suffer is all these different landlords, because now they're going to have to find other alternative businesses that are going to be able to pay the rent, and I'm pretty sure that none of them are going to be able to pay as much rent as what these cannabis shops were paying them. But we shall see. And on that, we are going to roll into our next commercial, and we are going to be right back. And we are back, you guys. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you'll be able to read on our website just shortly following today's episode. And make sure that you go into the description of the video and check out all of our sponsors. Make sure you go buy their products and everything. And also make sure that you use the link to order yourself a case of Liberal Tears today. 150 milligrams of caffeine in every can. And get it while you can. I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi. Yes, and we are back. Yarrow, you want to introduce Jenny Beth?
No. Not really.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Go for it, Yarrow.
Coming up, the sassiest and classiest. Yours truly. For those that are always looking for a breath of fresh air and an injection of positive perspective. Jenny from around the block. I mean,
wait, who wrote that intro?
The J-Lo of KK. Smoking what you got. Here she is.
That was good, Yarrow. That was good.
Please don't ever make that face again. It's awful. Mm-hmm. It's awful. Don't ever make that face again. Mm-hmm. Speaking of injections, it looks like you got some bad ones, bud. But, all right, so my story is insane. Because the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched from Vandenberg on June 23rd carried 70 experimental payloads, including cannabis and human remains. But unfortunately, they did not make it back intact. The Mission Possible re-entry capsule carrying cannabis samples from the Citizen Science Initiative Martian Grow and ashes plus DNA from 166 participants via Celestis successfully orbited Earth twice. Then during descent, things went sideways. Communications were lost just minutes before the plane splashed down near Hawaii. The parachute apparently failed, and the capsule with its precious and unusual cargo plummeted into the Pacific unrecoverable, authorities say. It was meant to be historic, cannabis adapting to extreme environments, and for the first time, human remains returning from orbit to loved ones. Instead, both are now missing in the ocean's depth. Families will be contacted by Celestis as the investigations continue. So, first of all, I wonder how much they're going to have to refund people, because I can't imagine these 166 families just shot their familial people's remains into space for free. You know, that urn sitting on the dresser, you thought you were going to tell a cool story about how it orbited Earth twice. Well, now they are away at sea. But also, like, this was a cool opportunity to see what space does to cannabis, how it was plant matter and seeds. So those plants would have been able to be grown and been tested and see if going to space changed anything at all. So this is a big fat L. And I just, when looking for a story in the middle of the night last night, I'm like, oh, this is the one. This is the one, because what the fuck? Jason.
I mean, so I'm willing to bet, Jenny, that we know, I'm a little confused in part by this, because are we sure that it was ashes and it wasn't just like, because when they say remains, it makes me think of some other things besides ashes.
Just dumping bodies, you think? Just
yeah.
Ashes, it said ashes and DNA, Jason.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure we're being clear, and you know what I'm saying.
Open the hatch.
What do they mean when they say decay? Because you said ashes and decay.
DNA.
Oh, DNA. Got it. Ashes and DNA. So does that mean that it was like little, little?
I don't know, but I didn't look at it.
Little protein shakes.
Why is this even a thing? Why is this even happening? Want to see the space's effect on cannabis? What?
I mean, it's out of this world,
that's
bro.
The same reason why millionaires can go to the bottom of the ocean in a Star-Kissed tuna can.
That's
just because.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's the reason?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, who doesn't want to experience things that other people haven't been able to experience, Todd?
Yeah, but how does that affect remains and cannabis in space? Just don't understand who's even asking that question.
Well, the seeds are kind of cool, right? Because if you send the seeds and they orbit, they go into space and they orbit the Earth a couple times, and then you grow those seeds out, it's possible they could grow a little different than some of their counterparts. But the remains, I think it's just like a 90-90 boo-boo. We can afford to send Anna on a space trip before we spread our ashes somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but how do you visit them?
On you.
You visit them and bring flowers and shit.
They were coming back, bud. They were coming back. They were supposed to be recovered, but the parachute failed, so they're not going to get their body part, their ashes back.
Got it.
So they lost the body parts by a company founded by Elon Musk, basically. They couldn't keep track of the human remains.
Well, no, the parachute failed, so the human remains, they know where they are, but they're down at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, unrecoverable.
Interesting.
I mean, in a weird sort of way, like, you probably should have just spread the ashes in the ocean anyway.
I mean,
we just did it for you in an indirect manner, I guess.
I mean, I would have think it would have been cooler to have opened up the ashes in space and let them float around in the atmosphere forever. That would have been cool.
Yes, let's litter space with a bunch of dead people's ashes.
I don't really see a problem with that. As the space is immense. There's plenty of space out there, Yarrow.
We might as well just litter it with stuff. Right?
Why not?
So this started. All right. The Earthrise service affordably launches a symbolic portion of cremated remains or DNA to space. After experiencing the zero gravity environment, the individual flight capsules and modules are returned to Earth and delivered to the family as a flown keepsake, starting at $34.95.
That is such a scam.
The Earth Orbit Service, the uniquely compelling Orbit Service, which is what this was, places the Celebs spacecraft carrying cremated remains or DNA into orbit, where it remains until it re-enters the atmosphere, harmlessly vaporizing like a shooting star in a final tribute at $4,995. So that's the one where you don't get it back.
Pro tip.
They'll drop you on a star or lunar orbit starting at $12,995. Voyager service is a true mission of exploration, sending the Celebs spacecraft carrying cremated remains or DNA on a permanent celestial journey well beyond the moon, starting at $12,995.
That is cool.
That is the biggest waste of funds. Take that $12,000
thing I've ever heard.
Homeless people.
No way.
Give it to some orphan kids.
This is cool.
Just figure out how to bereave like a normal person.
What are you talking about?
Wasting your money on what is arguably the stupidest service offered to man.
No way, bro. This is amazing service.
They say that it's surprisingly affordable. So just
$34.95. Yeah, right. But like, I don't know. This is
I think this is fantastic. I think this is really cool.
It's a business model based on the sucker is born every minute model, right?
I don't know. I think this is a really cool idea. I mean, I think it's, I mean, think about this. Think about this. Don't you think the guy from the Honeymooners would definitely do this for Alice? Because he's always saying to the moon, Alice. To the moon, Alice. Like, this would be the perfect way for him to share her ashes. Put her on a comet and boom.
My dad, upon his demise, wants to be buried naked in a plexiglass coffin and then have us fill it with tree sap so that he has a chance of coming back like one of those fossilized ants that you saw in the Jurassic Park movies.
That's cool.
Are you lying?
That's cool.
I think when those ants were fossilized in that tree sap, they were still alive. So I think your dad's missing the part where he's going to die first. Also, that's going to be one hell of an open casket, Yarrow.
It'll be sticky.
Yarrow, I mean, would you
leave the kids at home?
Do you think the same thing would happen if you used maple syrup instead of tree sap?
Yeah, we'd have a bunch of weird Canadians at the service trying to get down.
Oh man.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. So I just did some math.
I bet he's marinated nice now.
I just did some math, and I hope these people are getting full refunds. It's $580,170 for the 166 families who paid $34.95 a piece to put Grandma on this spaceship just to get her lost in the Pacific Ocean.
I'm telling you, this is a weightless story.
Oh, I see what you did there. I think it's out of this world.
Stupid.
I mean. I think that the cannabis side is super interesting too in relation to, because it was it only seeds, or did they actually have like weed to smoke up there?
They took seeds and plant material.
Seeds, and so they had the green leafy substance up there. We know why that didn't disappear.
It did disappear.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we know why that disappeared, because they ended up smoking that while they were up there.
No, Jason, they were all in capsules that shoot off of the. I don't know if you know how this works, okay? So when you launch something out that's prepackaged that's supposed to go into space in a capsule, it's in a capsule, so it just shoots away from the ship. So they weren't up there smoking, because I don't know. Yeah. Have you ever seen a fire on a spaceship in a movie?
Seen a fire in a spaceship on a movie.
Yeah, how you feel like you could spark up anyhow.
No. Jason does not watch those kind of shows. He's a total rom-com only.
I do not. Yeah.
Watcher.
I don't. You are right, Yarrow. I do not watch that kind of stuff. That part is true.
If the movie didn't have Meg Ryan in it, Jason probably hasn't seen it.
Fair enough.
Well, whatever, you guys. Whatever. We're gonna roll into our fun. This was a cool story. Thank you for covering this today, Jenny Beth. I thought this was pretty cool. Well, we're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, I left one, and I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where will I even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
It's all right, and you're
like a Buzz Aldrin kill.
That's cute. Well,
that was all faked in a studio, wasn't it?
Stop it, you guys. Stop this. You guys are just so ridiculous.
That's the GOP line.
Let me tell you what wasn't faked in a studio. And this is a follow-up story from a story we covered last week, because National Guard troops were deployed to LA. And they were sent to Riverside County marijuana farm raid, you guys. That's right. We covered that raids here on High at 9 News. National Guard troops that were mobilized to help respond to immigration protests in Los Angeles were then sent more than 100 miles away to protect federal agents enforcing immigration laws on marijuana farms in the Coachella Valley, according to court documents filed by the Trump administration on Monday. Around 315 National Guard troops assisted the DEA in executing a federal search warrant Wednesday on suspected illegal marijuana farms in Thermal, a desert community around 25 miles southeast of Palm Springs, according to the DEA spokesperson. During the operation, Immigration and Custom Enforcement agents arrested between 70 and 75 workers on suspicion of lacking documentation, and the spokesperson said one U.S. citizen was arrested on suspicion of impeding law enforcement. The use of the National Guard in this operation has become a new sticking point in the ongoing legal battle between Governor Gavin Newsom and President Donald J. Trump over whether the president has the authority to command some 4,000 National Guard members to quell unrest in L.A. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the violence in Los Angeles likely provided sufficient grounds for Trump's June 7th decision to deploy the troops to protect federal personnel and property, and overturned a temporary restraining order that would have returned the National Guard to Newsom's control. The appeals court determined that Trump may continue to control military troops in Los Angeles while Newsom's objections to their deployment are litigated in a federal court. In Monday's federal court filing, attorneys from the Office of California Attorney General Rob Bonta challenged whether current conditions in Los Angeles justify the continued use of National Guard members, especially in missions such as the marijuana farm raid, that are untethered to protection against the kinds of harms against federal personnel and property that the Ninth Circuit concluded likely justified the initial federalization. Lawyers responding to the Trump administration pushed back, writing that the Coachella Valley operation was in the same vein of other uses of service members to provide protection for immigration enforcement, and that Bonta's team gives no persuasive, factual, or legal reason to question defendants, the Trump administration's continued use of military service members. Trump's attorneys argued that the protests and violence continue to challenge federal agents' ability to enforce immigration law, and pointing to a Wednesday declaration by Ernesto Santa Cruz, director of the LA field office of ICE enforcement and removal operations, regarding ongoing unrest in Los Angeles. In a quote, "The presence of the National Guard and other Department of Defense personnel has enabled ICE to continue to carry out its congressionally mandated duties in the Los Angeles area," Santa Cruz wrote on Wednesday. "Because of the current threat, we will not be able to carry out as many immigrant enforcement operations as we have been able to do with the Guard's assistance." The declaration, however, does not reference any conditions of violence or unrest in Riverside County, and the DEA's Los Angeles Field Division said that it requested support from multiple federal agencies in conducting a search warrant on the Coachella Valley's marijuana farms due to the topography and magnitude of the operation, which spanned 787 acres and took place in temperatures of up to 112 degrees. A total of 500 personnel participated in the operation, including members of Customs and Border Protection, ICE, the National Guard, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, and the U.S. Marshal Service and the Internal Revenue Service. In a quote, "Due to the vast magnitude of the operation, we needed partners to safeguard not just our personnel," the DEA spokesperson said, "but also the individuals either working or living in the premises. 2 men were found padlocked inside a trailer during the operation," according to the DEA. And on Monday, Bonta's team requested additional discovery of information regarding National Guard deployments outside of the Los Angeles area, as well as updated information on whether the Trump administration remains unable to enforce immigration laws in LA or elsewhere using regular federal agencies to the decree that the National Guard deployment remains necessary, you guys. Well, interesting story here. They're trying to say that Trump didn't have the right to do that, but I know for a fact there was a lot of illegal immigrants that were working at these places, and so if ICE is over there, I don't see a problem with them using the National Guard in relation with this when they're trying to secure these places in such a large area and whatnot. But I know Yarrow's definitely going to have something to say about this.
Go ahead, Yarrow. You like fucking Popeye.
Yep.
I mean, look, this is Prohibition 4.0. I think the people that they found tied up as hostages or were kidnapped were crisis actors so that they can malign.
You think that they were crisis actors, bro? Stop it. This wasn't a protest.
Those talking points of only the right wing when it comes to others.
This wasn't a protest, bro. These are people that got locked in a storage container. It's probably.
They wanted to be there.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
So I think that the troubling thing is the idea that we're using the military domestically, and that has been something that traditionally has been very limited in nature, typically for either riots or force de jour crises that are a natural disaster. And when we deviate from that very limited use of the military within the United States, what could go right? Yeah, right. A lot of these people are not trained for civilian interactions. And to me, it seems very much like it's the kind of stuff that isn't really about moving personnel to where they need to be in order to get a job done. And it's more about the photo op and the optics that can be created by showing that we're tough on this and tough on that and sending our boys and girls to get the job done. And so I have a hard time thinking that a state as rich as California wouldn't and couldn't have complied with federal requests for personnel to accomplish some of the same goals without trying to make it look like a movie set.
I don't know if you've seen what happened in LA or the absolute horror of a job that Karen Bass has done in running LA.
Oh, God.
But they needed some backup. And when you have people who are protesting, right, who are actually shooting at agents trying to do their job, it is within the constitutional powers of the United States for the U.S. government to deploy the military to protect federal law enforcement.
That's absolutely not true. In fact, that's absolutely not true. That is categorically the most non-factual statement to come out of your otherwise intelligent brain in the history of this show.
Stop.
That is not true.
It's true.
No, it's not.
I'm
The
siding with
governors
Jenny
of
on
the
this
state in which those military forces are deployed are a part of that process. It's not true. We can bring up quotes from when Trump criticized it under Democratic administrations. That is not true. That is not true. Oh, great. A citizen fired a gun, or maybe it wasn't a citizen, so the military comes in. That's not how it works. That is not.
Trump said it was okay, so it's okay.
The Insurrection
Trump
Act
said it. It's true.
No, it's not Trump. It's not Trump said it. It's in the goddamn Insurrection Act. The most significant exception allowing the president to deploy the military domestically in situations like suppressing an insurrection or enforcing federal law when state authorities are unable or unwilling.
But you didn't tell me there was anything related to an insurrection or enforcing federal law. You are taking
it was. Hold on, Yarrow.
1800s.
Hold on, Yarrow.
Suggesting that it applies to 2020.
Yarrow, the whole main reason for this whole action was an immigration ICE raid because of all the illegals that they had working at these farms.
And what does that have to do with an insurrection? Nothing.
You said you missed the or part. You missed the or part. You missed the or part. Yeah.
Or enforcing federal law.
Exactly.
Immigration law is federal law.
Exactly.
You might not fucking like it. Newsom might not like it. You guys might have your panties up your assholes about it, but it says it. It's the fact. I'm sorry. So I'll sit here quietly and wait for my apology, Yarrow.
Nonsense.
You might not agree with it. You might think it's nonsense, but it is a fact.
Yes, it is a fact.
Not liking it is fair, and you're entitled to your opinion. I respect it, whether I think it's asinine or not. But it is what it is. LA's not going to let the Rodney King fucking riots happen again.
Yep.
They had to get that shit under control. And I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, when you have people trying to pull people out of their cars and stopping traffic and tearing people's everything up, I still can't get the police to fucking respond to our distro that got literally fucking mangled because apparently you need to go steal weed in the name of social justice. Come on, Yarrow.
Yep.
Come on, Yarrow. And LAPD won't respond and won't give us a response time. It's been a week, 2 weeks.
call in the 18-year-olds with the M16.
I'm all here for it.
I'm not saying that's a good solution. That's absolutely illegal, and that kid is a fucking psychopath.
I'm here for it.
Didn't those Marines end up just sleeping on the floor of a federal building and guarding a few federal buildings?
Yeah.
I mean, they got to sleep. You know what I mean? Maybe they're taking a page out of Elon Musk's book. You know what I'm saying? Well, whatever, Yarrow. Whatever. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I got one more final story for you guys, and it's a little bit of a happier tale. It's I couldn't really find a happy story, but it is funny and interesting. Okay, Jenny?
Go for it.
All right. Well, a Michigan cannabis store's Bigfoot statue sparks debate over an appeal to children, you guys. In an unusual turn of events, Michigan is seeing its second Bigfoot-related marijuana story within a month. A 14-foot Sasquatch statue outside a cannabis retailer in Menominee has ignited controversy, with critics arguing it could send inappropriate messages to children. You guys, sounds like
Yeti babies.
Yeah, it sounds like Dan Patrick needs to go over to Michigan, maybe, possibly. But last month, an alleged Bigfoot sighting in Monroe County inspired Unique Cannabis to launch a promotion offering a free pre-roll to anyone providing photographic evidence of the legendary creature. Now, a separate retailer, Higher Love, in Menominee, is drawing attention with its towering Sasquatch statue, which became a focal point at this month's City Planning Commission meeting. Some residents expressed concerns that the figure might appeal to children, with one urging the commission to think about what mascots they see in our community and how they are impacting children. Carrie Ann LaSpierce, executive director of Healthy Youth Coalition, echoed these sentiments in a letter to the commission, noting that some students have expressed concern about how these efforts may be normalizing use or influencing young people. Johnny Moore, president of Higher Love, offered a contrasting view. In a quote, says, "I would be in opposition to that," she told the Eagle Herald. "This is not a cartoon character. Our Sasquatch that's in front of the store is a little bit scary. So I don't see how that's targeting children at all." Everybody loves Sasquatch, Moore continued. And people in especially forested areas seem to identify with Sasquatch. He is an he's an adventurous character, and it's really just Higher Love trying to have some fun. She also addressed broader criticism, stating, "Every time I go to a public meeting, there's always a hater in the audience who just doesn't like cannabis. That's fine. People are entitled to their opinions. It just brings a little whimsy to a community, and I think it's all positive. I don't see any problems at all." Michael Scully, Menominee's code and zoning officer, confirmed he consulted with City Attorney Michael Calillo, who determined the Bigfoot statue complies with local signage regulations, and beyond erecting Sasquatch statues or offering promotions tied to mythical creatures, cannabis businesses continue to explore creative marketing strategies to capture public attention, you guys. Well, Bigfoot sighting out there in Michigan. Man, oh man, oh man. The first story, I saw that story last week or the week before last, and I was like, oh, that's a funny story. But they're just offering a pre-roll for a photo evidence of this guy. I think they should be offering a little more than a pre-roll if you have a photo of Bigfoot.
Yeah, I agree. It's worth way more than a pre-roll.
Yeah,
I mean, they're skimping. It's a Bigfoot. It should be a big pre-roll. It should be a real...
A can of gar, at least.
Yeah.
A can of gar.
I think you should get like an eighth or a half ounce. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a Smalls or something. Half ounce of Smalls.
The bigger
you know
the foot, the bigger the bud.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you run that promotion in your dispensary, and you can be a trendsetter?
It's cute. That's cute. It's cute, Todd. Real cute.
I just love that they're beefing over Bigfoot. Like, this is a thing out there.
Over a statue outside of a store.
So
it's like,
and who's got more Bigfoot cred?
Yeah. I mean, what if this place put a scarecrow out in front of their place? Would the neighbors be saying the same thing?
We'd still be calling on this show.
I see what you did there, Yarrow. That was cute. That was cute. Jenny Beth, you ever seen Bigfoot?
No.
No. You ever gone looking for Bigfoot?
Looks, though.
Lots of looks, yeah. I thought it was pretty funny how it said that people that live in the forest seem to like magically identify as Sasquatch. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a soft spot for Sasquatch.
I mean, I watched this show called Paranormal Caught on Camera, and surprisingly, there's a lot of fucking footage of this.
I mean, here's the thing: if Sasquatch and the Loch Ness monster want to have a civil union, who am I to come in the middle of that, right?
They definitely Nessie shows up a lot less than Bigfoot. Bigfoot's, he's out there doing his shit.
I think there's more than one Bigfoot. I think there's a few families of them. I don't think it's just like one.
Yeah, because how could he get around and be sighted in so many places?
Yeah, now some of them
really heavy schedule.
And now some of the family members have migrated through Montana all the way to Michigan.
All I know is if you see Bigfoot, call Trump, because I do believe the Insurrection Act of 1807 applies.
Stop it. Stop the ridiculousness.
Especially if you see him in California.
Oh, yeah, because he's illegal. He didn't come from here. He was probably Canadian, came on through.
Bigfoot is not a Canadian, bro. Bigfoot is a native Californian.
Native. He's an American?
Yeah, he's American.
He's born in America?
Born in America.
Were his parents indigenous? Because they're getting kicked out now, too. All the indigenous folks.
No, they're not. Stop it. Stop the ridiculousness, Todd. Stop the ridiculous. Those are illegals that were over there on those native reservations.
He's going to need to bleach his fur lighter so he's not put on some truck and swooped away to El Salvador.
Oh, man.
There's going to be less and less Sasquatch sightings. They're fucking in hiding. They don't want to get deported.
Stop it. You guys are ridiculous. Any final words, Jenny Beth?
Guatemala. I've never been to Guatemala. So what? Supreme Court says I can send you there.
Guatemalan.
You look Guatemalan.
Get on the bus. Get on the bus.
You guys are crazy.
What do you mean you have no papers?
Get on the bus. We have ways to make you talk.
Any final words, Jenny Beth?
That was fucking ridiculous, Jason. I don't even know where you found that.
Oh, so you can do the dead remains in space, but he can't do Bigfoot?
Right.
Yeah, she's just.
All right, I guess I understand it now.
Ridiculous.
She's just being a hater today.
Is as ridiculous as it is. It's less ridiculous than the fucking remains and weed in space.
Yeah, someone obviously woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Apparently.
I know. Let me go back there.
Well, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Yes, you are so right about that, Yarrow. Weed for the people. And huge thank you to Aim High Hemp Distribution, tested catalyst, for helping us keep the lights on over here. Thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing, and thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. Thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Kai out there in the metaverse looking for Sasquatch. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And we are